every revolution or every political movement or any kind of change, and having someone, okay, CIA, which is fucking for you to call me CIA when you know I'm not.
Everything was politicized. It was, oh, this is when we became the left versus the right. But both sides are trash. In COVID,
his own thing. So it seems to be that money's the issue, that like we're using money and that's how politics is being pushed. Because now we've seen what someone does when they use their own money and it doesn't seem to be a solution. So I feel like we take money out of politics, we'll have a much better political system.
Politician, you think they're gonna come out and tell me the truth? They was lying to my mama. They ain't gonna never tell us.
So everybody, we look at certain things just because, oh, this happens in the hood or we see this every day. All the way up. These people were speaking truth. King, we could talk X, we could talk it all. They were speaking truth.
What's going on in anyone's mind, but let's take it as a given that Gray's argument is true, that the argument to not have ID is that it would be discriminatory versus certain socioeconomic brackets or something. It's like
the world's greatest trial run of what people will do and what people won't do. And we are the only country on the planet that really fought against the government. A lot of it,
because you focus on 80-20 issues. I'm looking at the Epstein issue as we have 80% of the information we need to prosecute these people that actually did anything, but you're focusing on the 20% trying to take down Donald Trump, which you're never going to get. So I'm going to keep sitting here with a smug-ass face on every single day.
I'll explain. Good question. I'll give you the answer. The Republican Party constantly talks about transgenders and transgender surgery to minors.
I'm mostly on the left, ideologically, but I don't associate with the Democrats because they're not ideologically on the left. The Democrats are clowns, and they're also losers.
About to be any engaging conversation. It's not about to be any discourse about different political ideologies, what works and what doesn't. If that is the outcome, right? For example, I'm not going to go and just put myself in the middle of a KKK rally.
Verify me. I'm not a fucking Fed. They always do this. I'll say this, right? And they did the same thing to Nick. We've seen the video. They'll call people who are genuine and authentic Feds because
the interesting thing to me is that the ones that claim that they believe the Constitution are now trampling the Constitution. The ones that said they believed in the First Amendment, the freedom of speech, right, are now going against the freedom of speech. The ones that...
So to see and hear this strong, compelling speech with emotion, I think that's extremely important for young men to see from a leadership perspective.
Y'all have no plan. They'll never talk about nothing positive about the Democrat Party. Everything is just anti-Trump. They're not willing to have a conversation. They call us fascists. We willing to have a conversation. Charlie Kirk's willing to have a conversation.
J.D. Vance's Halloween costume.
Oh, God, had it. I think it was Tommy Vitor who you were talking to, and he said, I'm so sick of losing to fucking losers. JD Vance is such a fucking
Yes.
loser. He is such a loser. He's one of those insecure men I just described earlier. And I think, Jennifer, you described him as like, a failed drag queen. It's what he always wanted. And then he had to write the book and, pretend to be that. And then now he's vice president. It's what he always wanted. He is such a loser. He's an insecure man. He doesn't have a job. All he does at the White House is troll. He went after me on Twitter. You cannot be an elected official at that high and going after 23-year-olds on social.
No.
That cannot be the way. And so I hate JD Vance. And so I've certainly had it with his dumbass costume, his dumbass face, and everything he does.
Disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed on this panel show are those of the individual speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of this channel, its affiliates, sponsors, or production team. This content is intended for informational and entertainment purposes only. Viewer discretion is advised. We encourage respectful dialogue and critical thinking around the topics discussed.
Party. Why I like the new party? Number one, it's a group of people that's on a panel. We all have differences, but we all basically still come together at the end of the day. The new party for me is about unity. The new party for me is about educating people to the truth, letting people know what's been going on in our country. With that being said, shout out to the new party, man. We're going to keep it going with y'all.
Welcome to the new party. I'm Nora Christine.
Ray Mars.
Manzo.
I'm Skeptic.
I'm Kamal.
And tonight on the new party, we are going to be answering a few questions, starting with why did the government shut down last so long? I just played Harry Sisson to give a little joke because he appears to being the pseudo leader now of the Democrats. He's been doing more talking and stage time than most Democrats at this point. So I just wanted to get a little ha-ha, hee-hee laugh and start it off. But this is the Democrats. People basically been calling it out. Why did this last so long? That's the question we really need to answer. Here is AOC, who's actually looking like the front runner. And here's what she had to say.
There is a deep sense of outrage and betrayal. And this is not just about progressive Democrats. This is across the board, the entire party. There are members of Congress who have won Trump-held districts in some of the most difficult territory in the United States, who walked the plank and took innumerable risks in order to defend the American people, in order to defend Social Security, Medicaid, and Medicare, just to see Senate Democrats even consider acquiescing to Elon Musk. I think it is a huge slap in the face, and I think that there's a wide sense of betrayal if things proceed as currently planned.
How will House Democrats and Senate Democrats work together now if there is such a sense of betrayal?
I think that creates a real challenge, and that in and of itself, I think, is part of what makes the leadership of this moment so crucial, because this is a decision about trust. It is a decision about trust and cooperation, because there will be a day where the Senate will need the House to move on something, and if there is an erosion of trust and a breach of trust, such as what is being considered right now, it will make cooperation difficult. And we cannot afford to be in an every person for themselves kind of moment. We need to work together and as a team in order to usher our country through this very dark time.
The point that Senator Schumer has kind of made is, the CR is bad, but a shutdown is worse. So how do you respond to that point?
That is, I cannot understate, I cannot underscore enough how incorrect that is. Because what this does, what voting for this CR does, is that it codifies the chaos and the reckless cuts that Elon Musk has been pursuing. The robbing of our federal government in order to finance tax cuts for billionaires is what is happening, and that is what Senate Democrats will be empowering if they vote for the CR.
Oh gosh, guys, sorry, we're having some technical difficulties in here tonight. New technology, that's what happens. But nevertheless, I'm gonna let Enzo go first because I think he's the only one y'all can see. Oh wait, now we can see everyone. Enzo, what's your thoughts on the clip that I played and what she's saying about the government shutdown?
A bunch of horse shit out of AOC's mouth. That's all she does. She echoes everything that the Democrat Party says. This whole shutdown could have been avoided. And it's funny that they're eating their own right now, to be honest with you, because after they passed it in the Senate on Sunday night, you go on Twitter, it was a shit show. It was the funniest thing of all of them eating their own, saying that they're weak. And here's the funny thing too. So I went through that entire CR that Chuck Schumer and them put forward, right? And I went back and watched clips of Chuck Schumer, AOC, Nancy Pelosi, Jeffries, all of them, right? And it's funny how they say by putting these ACA subsidies in that healthcare premiums would not rise. Every one of them said that. But in their own bill that they put forward, healthcare premiums would rise anywhere between 2 to 8% every single year. So are we going to continue to lie to the American people about healthcare and say that this whole shutdown was for healthcare, or are we just going to admit what it was, that healthcare prices are going to rise regardless under the Obamacare, which has risen since it's been implemented over 1,000% for people, and just tell us that it was completely election manipulation to play into people's emotions to get what they want? Because right after those elections were done, they were so ready to sit down and make a deal, and they didn't even get what they wanted. That's the funny thing. So what was this for? I thought we really were about the American people.
Yeah, so Fetterman also went on The View. I'm gonna have Skeptic respond to this. When Fetterman went on The View, let's see what he had to say.
Your poll found more Americans on both sides of the aisle blaming Republicans. Even Marjorie Taylor Greene blamed the GOP. As you mentioned, Democrats had big wins last week, so you had momentum. Why give in now? Why bring a butter knife to a gunfight? Are you willing to gamble that the GOP will negotiate on health care in good faith once the government reopens? Because if that gamble is wrong, 500,000 Pennsylvanians that you represent, their health care costs will skyrocket if you are wrong. And I believe you are wrong.
Well, first of all, MTG is quite literally the last person in America that I'm going to take advice or to get their kinds of my leadership and values from. And now if Democrats are celebrating crazy pants like that, then that's on them. And now I don't need a lecture. I don't need a lecture from whether it's Bernie or the governor in California, because they are representing very deep blue kinds of populations. And a lot of those things were part of the extreme. And now remember, what really needs to win, the big win, is involving my state and other states in those things. And why have we arrived here after the election a year ago? We got to forget some of the things that cost us that election. Or now for me, it's like, that's why I'm trying to remind people that kinds of the extremism, we can't return to those kind of things and realize we need to find a way forward. And I would like to, rather than cite MTG, I'm going to cite one of the new governor-elects saying that my election is not a green light to continue the shutdown, because I promise you, this isn't a political game. It is viewed by many of us, but the reality is 42 million Americans now not sure where their next meal is going to come from. And because we vote like that, or people that haven't been paid for 5 weeks now, and that kinds of chaos.
Okay, so Skeptic, what do you think about what he said? Do you think that is a legit fear that they're not going to give the ACA subsidies once they go back to vote again in January? We can't hear.
Some of her audio.
Okay, so Skeptic, I would say come back and go back in. I'm gonna let Gray respond then, and when you come back, you can respond. Gray, what do you think?
I think to a certain extent that he's right. I mean, why would the Democrats want to keep the shutdown going if they had good elections and basically like they're getting blamed for it as well? Why continue like bleeding? Why not just stop it and say, okay, let's try to work something out? Like people are already liking us, so let's try to work with the Republicans and try to get something done. So I feel like he's taking the right approach.
Mm. Well, this is another take on the government shutdown. This guy said this is why he believes it happened.
The whole government shutdown thing was always just a big ploy. Let me explain. So first, the news just broke that the longest ever government shutdown is finally coming to an end. They're saying that the broad framework for this agreement was negotiated by Senator Angus King, Jean Shaheen, and Maggie Hassan, as well as GOP senators, has now, quote, more than enough members of the Senate Democratic Caucus to advance, according to two people granted anonymity to disclose the terms. So then I went to research what was so different about this new bill, and the answer is absolutely nothing. They say that this deal is a pragmatic off-ramp from the initial stalemate, a quote-unquote cleaner CR with some wins for both sides, but it largely kicks the core fights, ACA subsidies, Medicaid cuts, down the road without resolution. So why the vote now? Well, it's this. One of the main reasons why the shutdown began in the first place is because the Democrats feared electoral backlash from their base. This is an article from last month, and they said that, quote, it's been clear to them that the American people don't want to see a Democratic Party that capitulates to a Republican extremism. They want a party that stands up for people's health care, that stands up for our democracy, and that's what they're doing now. And that message worked brilliantly for the Democrats. They absolutely shellacked the Republicans in the elections last week. And now Democrats who won their elections last week are coming out and saying, yeah, they can be done with this government shutdown now. Yeah, that big fight over healthcare, yeah, that is not even in this new bill. So we had a 40-day government shutdown, air traffic, a complete mess, massive bread lines across the country for absolutely no reason. Okay, it's all a freaking game to these scumbags, and the American people are always the one to suffer.
Okay, Skeptic, you're back. Do you agree with that it's a game?
Skeptic, are you there?
Okay, Skeptic. I don't know what you're using, but you can't hear us on there. So if you have a laptop or a phone, go use your phone because there's something going on with the audio because you can't hear us and we're speaking.
Want to go to phone?
Yeah, I'm gonna go to Kamal. Kamal, what do you think about the clip?
I mean, this shit ain't nothing new. They always it's like I'm not surprised, man. That's what they do. All right. And hey, could y'all mute? I'm hearing a wild echo right now. I don't know if it's me or there it goes. Can y'all hear me?
It was Nora.
Is Nora? Okay. Yep. Okay, yeah, that's the echo. All right, for sure. Yeah, I'm not really surprised though. Like they always use the American people as like fucking stepping stones to get what they want. Both parties. You feel me? So I ain't surprised by this. This ain't nothing new. You feel me? I wonder, Skeptic, is your shit working? Yeah, we can't hear you. Damn. Trump got her. Trump got her internet.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay,
Rising
awesome.
guys here. Oh, now we can't hear you again.
Now we can't hear you. It's the Timu mic.
Kamal, you have anything else to say? Go to the next thing if you don't.
No, I really don't. I have nothing else to say. We just yeah.
Oh Lord, what a night. Okay, we're gonna move on to the next thing. Skeptic, I can't hear you, boo.
Can you hear me now?
Now I can hear you.
Okay. All right. Well, okay. So let me start from the beginning because been doing so many things. So the bill the big ugly bill that they passed, right? It does cut down provisions for the Affordable Care Act. So it would negatively affect millions of Americans that are covered under the Affordable Care Act, right? Okay. So when we talk about SNAP and stuff and they say these things like, why didn't the Democrats, this administration, this president could have funded SNAP for a week or 2 weeks or however much money that they say that they had, and he decided not to do that. Also, I feel like the continuing resolution, right, is like an agreement for them before they start appropriating the funds for the bill. So if there isn't change about the ACA, it means that they're still going to talk about what they need to do for it so that Americans don't lose the funding for it. So like the fact that this man was saying, I don't see any difference. Okay, that just means that when they start appropriating funds for this bill, they still want to talk about it. It's continuing. Like they're going to continue to find a resolution on this. And while they're doing that, while they're coming up with that, this is like the agreement that they have so far. So like it makes sense that that wouldn't be in there. Now, I'll say this. The Republicans or the Trump administration, one of the things that they had put inside of one of the CRs was that they were going to say who was going to get back pay, which was one of the things that Democrats said we're not going to agree to because that's ludicrous, right? That means that you're going to target people based on their political affiliation and whether or not they're going to get paid if they're government employees. So a lot of the arguments that they're giving to me don't make sense. Either they're not understanding the full how this works, or they just want to straw man for this administration. But the reality of it is they are going to cut down on the subsidies that help with the Affordable Care Act. They've already started cutting down on Social Security disability funding for some people. So to say that this bill isn't going to cut down on people's healthcare coverage is just not true.
Man, those are thoughts to think about. And that's why the topic is tonight. 1 year later, do Trump voters regret their vote? Kimberly, you didn't have a chance to respond. What do you think? Why did the government shutdown take so long, in your opinion?
I think the Democrats were waiting until after the election because they had a lot of favorable polls, and a lot of polls were in their favor. At least the voters were still up until the special elections voting, blaming the Republicans mostly for the shutdown. So I think they were waiting until after the special election. They could have, the compromise that they came to an agreement, they could have done weeks ago. So it was really, I think, a really big waste of time for it to take so long if they were just going to get what they could have gotten weeks ago.
That's what a lot of people are saying. That's what it's looking like.
Nina Turner has really good commentary on all of this. If you guys don't know who Nina Turner is, she's hilarious. I don't agree with her on everything, but when it comes to sticking it to the Democrats, Nina Turner is solid.
Yeah, she's a fair, balanced person. I know what you're talking about. I also like Sabby. The other topic that we're going to talk about tonight that was trending is the 50-year mortgage. And Trump's been promising it. This is something that even MAGA has been speaking out against. I'm going to play this clip of the older millennial. He's one of the most prominent MAGA figures. And let's see what he had to say.
This idea right here is quite possibly the dumbest thing I've ever heard from a presidential administration. If you were unaware, the Trump administration, in an effort to make homes more affordable, is pushing the idea of a 50-year mortgage. Do you understand how fucking stupid that is? Not even talking about the fact that you never have equity in the home. You fucking pay so much in just interest, and that the only people that would make money from this, the only people that get any value to this, are the people who originate the loans. They would make mountains of money. But also, this is the ultimate just fucking kicking the can down the road. This is, I'm so mad at the Trump administration for this, because this is showing me that they're not paying attention to what the actual problems are. Maybe, I don't know, maybe cap interest rates. I don't know, maybe get corporate spending out of fucking home buying. I don't know, maybe address zoning restrictions that don't allow you to build homes. Maybe open up more land for development. Fucking anything but 50-year mortgages. Because that is the dumbest fucking idea I've ever heard from a president ever. God, I support Trump. But on this, he can go fuck himself.
Man, Enzo, shout out to Missy. This is one of Enzo's fans. Thank you for the super chat. Trump is the GOAT, so is Enzo. But listen, Enzo, I'm going to say this. He almost sounded like he had to convince himself. I'm not going to lie to you. It's like, I love Trump. Trump is great, but this is so bad. But I don't regret my vote. I heard his voice, questioning, where the F are we going with this? What do you think is going to happen, Enzo? I have my thoughts. I'll let you go.
First and foremost, shout out. That's my boy. Second off, like I see the intention. I see where he gets this idea that it's going to drive people that are going to buy homes, because we just talked about it on my live and I did the math on it. Like, you buy a $700,000 house, they spitballed and said, let's say it's going to be anywhere between 10 to 12% interest on it, because interest right now are between like or 6 to 9, I'm pretty sure, depending. So let's just say 10 to 12 on that. Over 50 years, you're paying $200,000 in interest payments. But here's the appealing part to somebody who is not financially literate, right? They see that you can pay $289 a month for 50 years to have a fucking $700,000 house. That's going to drive people to go buy homes. The idea is there that this will help out bring people into homes, or are people my age, pretty much millennials, Gen Z, into buying homes because they think it's going to be a cheaper option for them instead of paying a $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 rent. This will get them in a home. At the end of the day, this is going to cause, not during his administration if this does go through, but I want to say maybe 8 to 10 years from now, another 2008 financial crisis, which is going to ruin whoever administration that is. I don't agree with it in the slightest. The same thing with the 20-year car loans. If you got to finance a car for 20 years, you shouldn't be getting a car. To be honest with you, if you got to finance a home for 50 years, you should not be allowed to do that. You should finance a home for anywhere 20 to 30 years, because I can't imagine at 28 years old financing a home until I'm 78 years old. I think that's asinine. Absolutely ridiculous. I don't care if I pay $300 a month. I would rather have it paid off and I can own that quicker than my entire life being stuck paying for it. And then you're locked into that rate. I highly doubt they'll have programs for you to refinance that too. So this is just a stupid thing. I don't agree with it. Trump, come on, you got to do better than that. You got to come up with a better plan to put people in homes, not just kick the can down the road.
Well, let's hear what Trump had to say, and then I'll let Skepta go.
Even a big deal. I mean, you go from 40 to 50 years, and what it means is you pay something less from 30. That some people had a 40, and then now they have a 50. All it means is you pay less per month. You pay it over a longer period of time. It's not like a big factor.
Skeptic. He don't even know that people got 30-year loans. He think it's 40 years. Like, why are our politicians so out of touch? Because this is not just a Trump thing. This is a lot of them thing.
But I think it's Trumponomics, though. It's the same thing as the tariffs thing. This is going to blow up in your face. And I think that it's targeting lower income people. To me, it seems very much targeted towards a certain group of people. Like, it seems like people that would see this as an opportunity where you're going to save $300 to $400 on your mortgage a month. You would think it's a good idea, and then you're going to lose your home. Like, you're going to have a home, you're going to pay on it for 20 or 30 years, and then whatever's going to happen, you're going to have a health issue. I mean, if you're 30 and you get a 50-year loan, a 50-year mortgage loan, like, what? This makes zero sense. And Enzo makes a good point here. The reason why banks do not loan you a 10-year loan for a car is because the amount of interest you would pay on that over time. You would pay so much interest on let's say a $500,000 home. You would pay more than $500,000 when you're done paying the interest. And I'm going to tell you how I thought about it, just from my perspective. We bought a home right after we got married. We've been married for 10 years. And we now have so much equity in my home that if I sold my home now, I would make money and I could buy a secondary home and probably have a little bit of money left over. And we've only been paying on it for 10 years. Now, if you get a 50-year mortgage, the first 10 years, you don't pay anything on interest. That you don't pay anything on what you own. You're just paying interest for 10 years. Right, on the principal. You're literally paying interest for the first 10 years. Like, think about how scammy that is. Now, if you own a bank and you want to go out and give loans that you know are probably going to default, you're going to be clapping this on. It's almost as if he has some besties that own banks and this is going to benefit him. But you know me, I'm skeptical about things.
Well, this is what Charlie Kirk had to say before he passed, the late Charlie Kirk. This is what he had to say about the housing industry.
When Charlie Kirk said this,
to make it easier for young people to buy homes. Get rid of BlackRock purchasing a bunch of homes and renting them back to us. Okay, so like seize their assets? Not seize their assets. Make it illegal that asset managers over $500 billion can't buy single family homes. Okay, I really agree with that. That's actually that's great. Thank you. Yeah. It's a super simple policy fix. If you have assets under management over 500 billion or 100 billion, you should not be in the single family home business, period. Okay. And that's artificially boosting housing prices across the country. I believe homeownership is a moral good for all humans.
so instead of fixing the housing crisis and, I don't know, banning BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard from buying single-family homes,
Can I just add that commercial real estate should also be included in there? Because they're literally, they are monopolizing the ownership of commercial real estate to where like family businesses cannot buy a building and own the building that you run your business out of because they're literally being owned by corporations. Like they have so much money where they can outbid you. Like growing up, I knew a lot of people that owned buildings in my hometown, and now you go to a small hometown and nobody owns any buildings. All the buildings are owned by corporations because they've literally gone out and bought all the commercial real estate.
Gray, what do you think about that? Do you think BlackRock's the problem?
Yeah, absolutely. They've been talking about this before about people trying to use housing, which is supposed to be to shelter people, to like make a profit. And there's other industries that we can look at, like, utilities and things like this, where it's a human necessity, and, try to give people some alleviation off of that. But Charlie Kirk, I agree with him in that clip. That was a great explanation.
Yeah, that was a great explanation. And here's RFK. He was running third party. This is what he had to say about BlackRock.
Stories of 20 and 30-year-old kids who can't afford to buy a house and even can't afford rent and are moving back in with their parents. This isn't happening because young people have suddenly gotten lazy. Monthly mortgage payments for home buyers are up 20% just in the last year, and that's because interest rates have doubled. Meanwhile, the cost of the average home has gone from $250,000 to $400,000 just since 2019. And those higher home prices have also driven up the cost of rent. So now Americans are paying a third of their income for rent. That's the highest ratio since records were kept. So what's happening? Well, what's happening is BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard, these giant corporations which own 88% of the S&P 500, are going into real estate. These investment firms swoop in as soon as a house comes on the market. They outbid prospective home buyers with cash offers. They add that property to their investment portfolio, and then they rent it back to you or your children at the most exorbitant rate that the market can bear. So how can our kids or the typical American homeowner win a bidding war with BlackRock? By 2030, these giant corporations are on track to own 60% of the single-family homes in our country. So BlackRock wants to be everybody's landlord and everybody's neighbor, but I'm not going to let that happen. When I get to the White House, I'm going to restore affordable home ownership to every American.
Well, unfortunately, he didn't win. Kamal, what's your thoughts about BlackRock and the corporations buying up our homes and businesses?
Man, we not about to get past this. Hold on. We on the X-Files right now? Goddamn Skeptic and Enzo agreeing? I'm about to agree with Charlie fucking Kirk. What the hell is going on? What the hell?
2 episodes in a row.
God damn, for real.
It's weird.
Hold on. One more. What the hell is going on?
Where is Mia with her tinfoil hat? Because there's a conspiracy somewhere around here.
For real.
I smell a conspiracy.
God damn. But yeah, I already done seen the game. You feel me? BlackRock is buying up shit like it's Monopoly. So if the 50-year mortgage can make me buy up homes like the Monopoly man, fuck it, we ball. We about to ball out here. I know it's a dumb idea, but damn it, sometimes you gotta be dumb to be smart. Said nowhere. Anyway, I'm just saying, if I could get rent and it be $400 a month, oh, we balling out of control. Give me the 50 piece. Shout out to 50 Cent. Anyway, I think we all in agreement, like BlackRock out here is being very shady, buying up all types of property, putting in an investment portfolio, and making us all renters at the end of the day. And we know that, the 50-year loan is a really idiotic ass idea because by the time you even pay off some of the interest of the home, you're going to be dead. The average homeowner is 40 years old. 50-year loan, that means you're paying at least 20 years on interest before you even hit the principal. I'm just saying. But fuck it, let's ball. Hey, who going in with me? Who gonna buy the 50-year? Kim, you with it? Okay. We about to buy Boardwalk and goddamn.
It sounds good. I'm not gonna lie.
I don't think there's
End
going
of
to
the
be a
day, no.
loan. I believe Trump is doing this to present the real plan and to make us feel okay about this. Is what Trump does. Trump presents some bullshit. People speak out against it, and then he's like, "Okay, we're not doing that," because he tacos out of it, and then he presents the real plan. I don't believe this is the real plan. But Enzo, go ahead and say what you got to say about BlackRock.
So with BlackRock is everybody says they want to take down BlackRock, State Street, Vanguard, and everything like that. Nobody does it because BlackRock and Vanguard and State Street, they're not just asset managers, real estate owners. If you really look into all these companies and see exactly what else they do and regime changes around the world, private militaries, everything like that, this is why we need to get lobbying out of politics and get money out of politics because you have BlackRock in the pockets of Congress members, generals, higher ups, doing their bidding for them that the military can't do on their own terms by going over in these countries taking over. I mean, let's look at like Africa, right? So all these countries that have like all the diamonds and everything like that, the oil fields, they don't have countries protecting their diamonds or their oil or anything like that. They have the Wagner Group in Russia. They have BlackRock and their subsidiaries and all these other organizations, Vanguard, State Street, doing it for them because they don't want the governments getting involved. The governments are good. The United States generals, Congress members, whoever it is. I'm making assumptions. If I go missing, y'all know why. Are the ones who are probably making money off it allegedly, and that's why nobody really does anything about these companies in the United States buying up all these properties. I agree with Charlie Kirk 100%. It should be taken out altogether. But there's a bigger issue that's way behind it. That's why nobody has said anything or done anything, and they're just the puppet masters really behind the scenes. If anyone's the puppet masters, it's them.
Yeah, and I have the clip explaining, and then I'll let Kimberly go. This is explaining what it would look like.
I'll be spending 50 years of your life and $500,000 more to buy a home moving forward, as Trump is looking at the 50-year mortgage plan, which transforms a $500,000 house into a $1 million house. Trump tweeted about it, and even his director of housing tweeted about it. A complete game changer. You would have 600 payments on your home, and if you bought a house now, it wouldn't be paid off until November in 2075. Basically, for $200 less a month, you'd be paying for 20 more years, and you wouldn't own your home until past retirement age. And as you see right here, at a 6% interest, paying $400,000 more dollars. If you bought a house at 25, you would have to wait until 8 years after you retired to fully pay it off. And if you didn't pay the house off, if you were 1 year away from paying it off and you couldn't do it and you died, your kids do not get your house because you didn't own it.
Damn, shout out to Johnny Bravo.
Is that true? Oh, because you don't own it. I thought it don't get passed down to your kids.
If you default on your loan, they can take your house and auction it off and resell it. And one of the top 5 or 10, whatever, to generational wealth is ownership of your home or land. So like, it's a farce. It's a scam.
Kimberly, what's your thoughts?
There's a website where you can buy on foreclosed homes. And that's why after the 2008 recession, when they bailed out the big banks, rather than bailing out the homeowners, they decimated Black wealth almost to none after that in 2008. We all touched on it a bit, but Enzo sounds like a closeted lefty today. I love it. It's crony capitalism. That's the problem with this government. It's crony capitalism. A lot of the times on both sides, they'll cry communism on both sides, but nobody's talking about communism. It's just honestly, I think capitalism would work. I just believe in a strong temporary social safety net to help, like a safety net, push people up, not like a permanent welfare state, but a strong social safety net to help people come up. And capitalism has worked before, 1950s USA, not this crony capitalist society that we live in. And both parties fall for that. It's not just the Democrats or the Republicans, it's both of them. They're completely bought out. And then I will say that it is true. A lot of these asset management firms like BlackRock, Vanguard, First Street are some of the puppet masters. A lot of the rich people that we don't really hear about, don't really come out on the news. And I was so sad when Claudia Steinbaum had the CEO of BlackRock on like her 11th day in the office when she met with them, because she's doing a lot of like trade deals and stuff to uplift Mexico out of like that poverty. They're starting to benefit from a little bit of that. I had my issues with AMLO, but when she met with the CEO of BlackRock on the 11th day in her presidency, I was so sad. Just a reminder that there are no heroes. There are no political heroes. It's us against them.
Oh, man. Well, we're going to talk about that tonight. Some drum roll. We're going to talk about, do Trump and MAGA voters regret their vote? And the reason why I said, what inspired me was listening to older millennial making a video against Trump. I was honestly shocked. I mean, this was the most anti-video I've ever seen him make against Trump. And he wasn't the only one. So I'm like, we're 1 year in. Are we regretting the vote? And we're going to go back in time. Let's go back a year ago. We're going to play some Trump promises. Promise 1, Trump promised to end inflation.
Today we're going to fire Kamala and we are going to save America. We will cut your taxes, end inflation, slash your prices, raise your wages, and bring thousands of factories back to America and back to the good old state of Georgia. We will build American, we will buy American, and we will hire American, and the jobs are going to be pouring in.
Okay, don't kill me, guys, but inflation in 2024 was 2.9% under Joe Biden. As of September 2025, it is at 3%. So my first question is, did we end inflation? Gray, you were on the journey with me when I was first considering voting for Trump. The economy was terrible under Joe Biden, or so we thought. Trump said he could fix it. Did he fix it?
First off, greatly produced show. That was a good idea. No, Trump did not fix inflation. That's what people are complaining about. But now they're calling it affordability, saying that people can't afford stuff, fuel, groceries, beef, you name it. People feel like they can't afford it. Trump them are trying to blame it on energy, saying they got to get the energy prices down, then the prices are going to drop. But like I said before, if you guys don't remember, people were going to get upset once it was holiday time. Now that it's holiday time, people don't care that this is the politician they like. They want some presents under the Christmas tree. So that's why you're seeing backlash from people.
And everything's going up, even Disney prices. I'm going to get Kamal to respond to this. Let's watch.
How strong that Disney Plus is doubling their prices. As you can see in the email they just sent out, just last year, a year subscription to Disney Plus was $80. Now this year, it's $160. I mean, at this point, I already canceled Disney Plus and you should too, but that's my opinion. Let me know what you think about this in the comments.
Kamal, what do you think about the prices? Have they gone down, up? What's your thoughts?
God damn. It went 160 something. Hey, man, Mickey Mouse, I got to talk to you, bro. This is fucking absurd.
Sorry.
Damn, Goofy, Donald Duck, y'all extorting too? Shit. Goodness gracious. Everything is going up. Jesus Christ, man. People gonna have to start doing OnlyFans just to watch Disney Channel. It is insane. I'm sorry. This is absurd. And okay, what gets me though is like, has any president ever like kind of brought down inflation though? I feel like inflation always kind of slowly increase. What president has done that? Like, I don't
Joe
know.
Biden. Joe Biden brought down inflation with his Inflation Reduction Act. Literally, you can see the policies being enacted and inflation going down.
The skeptic,
The,
why?
Brought it up.
Don't
no,
say
he
that.
did not. It went down after
It went
the
from
Inflation
3.5 to
Reduction Act
9.9,
was
then to
enacted.
3.4.
No, you can see inflation be reduced after the reason why we even had inflation was because this president, whenever COVID-19 came in, started giving out stimulus checks and they started stimulating the economy. And so we saw the backlash of that. We saw the increase in inflation. And then when
The
Joe
Inflation
Biden came
Reduction Act
in,
was passed.
yes, and then you saw a reduction in inflation. You started seeing inflation start going down
So in all
It went to
fairness,
9.9%.
after it hit the top, after it hit the peak. Yes, you see it come down towards the end of his administration.
Your mic is low, Dor. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Pre-COVID, Donald Trump stabilized it to 1.9%. Under Biden, it surged, then fell. The inflation peaked to 9% in June 2022 due to the supply chain shortage we had, then declined to 3% by 2024. So there is some truth to what Skeptic is saying. It soared under him, and then it went down. So in fairness, there is truth to what Skeptic said, but it did soar, and part of it was due to the supply chain and the
third stimulus
But
checks.
but the difference is that Trump is actually enacting bad policy that's literally causing a disruption in the supply chain. So like he's causing inflation. There was no reason for inflation to go up like that. And the instability in the economy is a literal like effect or a reaction to his bad policy when it comes to tariffs. Like when you destabilize the supply chain, you cause a ripple in the whole economy in the US. A lot of the numbers that we have, we don't even know how accurate they are because companies were freaking out and they were overspending and buying in bulks because they knew that tariffs were going to hit. But then tariffs don't hit. But then they do hit, but then they don't. It's like wild. It's different than when you inherit a bad economy and you're trying to do things to help. But when you're literally enacting policy or you're doing things that directly impact the economy and the American people and you don't care, I feel like you hold more of a responsibility for that.
Well, Trump also promised to give us engineering and electronics. Let's see what he had to say about that, and then I'll let Enzo get in and respond.
Companies can become American car companies. In other words, what I'm saying is they've got to build their plants in America with you people operating them. We can beat China in electronic production. We will, too, using a very similar form, actually a better formula than they have. Manufacturers that have left us will come sprinting back to our shores. Here's the deal that I will be offering to companies and manufacturers all around the planet. We're going to be going after their companies for the first time ever. They've been ripping us off for years, but that's not going to happen anymore. The United States will give you the lowest taxes, the lowest energy costs, the lowest regulatory burdens, and free access to the best and biggest market on the planet Earth, but only if they make their products here in America and hire American workers. That's the whole deal.
Enzo, do we now see jobs created under Trump? Someone mentioned in the chat there are deals that have been made. Japan was one of them. What is your response? Did he fulfill that promise?
100% he's fulfilled that promise. That promise. So we've had $5 trillion in investments come into the United States since January 20th. Rome was not built overnight. That's what I'm going to keep saying to everybody when they say, oh, well, the manufacturing is not here yet. The manufacturing is not here yet. One, we have to build the infrastructure to have the manufacturing here too. Two, we have to hire the people to work in those plants. Things happen over time. This is things that are going to happen within his first term. We could talk about with Apple. Apple's going to be opening their new AI processing and chip plant in Houston, Texas in 2026. You have Hyundai opening plants all over the place in the United States. You have Audi as well as Porsche opening plants in the United States in South Carolina and North Carolina. That's for the auto industry. There's multiple other businesses or multiple other industries that are coming back to the United States in droves because of these tariffs. Donald Trump has brokered deals with pretty sure, I think we're at now 10 different countries with the tariffs to bring back manufacturing. Apple has moved most of their production for the iPhones out of China into India to make the iPhones, so eventually bring everything back to the United States once all the manufacturing is here. We've seen this happen since day one. And inflation is not up under Donald Trump. Everybody can go look at the CPI report. The rate of inflation has come down, most notoriously for food at home, which is groceries, from 3.3% the year prior from March and September to 2.7% right now under Donald Trump. The rate of inflation has come down. We're never going to have deflation because deflation is bad for the economy at the end of the day, but it goes about slowing the rate of inflation. Like I said, it was at 3.3. Now we're at 2.7. Gas is down. Gas is down by almost 1 point year over year from March to September, as per the CPI report. Everybody has the capabilities and a smartphone in their pocket to look at these things and get the data and make assumptions instead of just going based off of what the news is going to tell you from whatever narrative you guys want to look at. I don't understand where the misinfo is still coming from in the world.
So, like, the reason why I say that a lot of the data that we have, we can't really even like we can't really break it down is because there's so much instability. But to say that grocery prices have gone down is just like just factually incorrect. You can go to the grocery store yourself, but not only that,
I'm
but
going to
we
go to the
actually
CPI report instead.
we actually have data that's showing you that groceries have gone up, that electricity has gone up, like what is it called? Utilities have gone up. So maybe the
That's
CPI
because of
report.
the big
Okay, but let me say,
whatever it's signed under Joe Biden. That's why. That's bad management on
so
the energy sector from Joe Biden.
on
You put in the
okay,
Green New
so let me
Deal
say,
that spiked up energy prices because the infrastructure is not there.
on day
We're seeing the
one,
residuals from that.
on day one, this man walked in and he completely stopped the Inflation Reduction Act. He also wanted to put an end to the Chips and Science Act, which is the reason why a lot of these microchip or microprocessor companies are coming back. So a lot of these companies that are investing in America had done so or had signed under the Biden administration, and he's just reaping the benefits of that. But to say that like you're lying to the American people that are out here really struggling and have seen the increase in their prices, that you can go down to the grocery store yourself and you can see how much like everything is way more expensive. And there's not just one person saying it. It's everybody collectively saying things have gotten more expensive. And it is like not true. People are adding the tariff cost we're seeing it trickle down. That's why we are seeing the clothes and the shoes increase by a large margin. Like I thought that it was only going to be $1 or $2, but I had said when you give corporations an excuse to increase prices on products, they're going to take a bite. They're gonna take as much as they can, and that's literally what we're seeing. Whether or not you say that's because of inflation or because of tariffs or because corporations just want to do it because they have an excuse. I can draw the line right back to the administration and what they have done that have caused an increase in prices.
Yeah, so I want to get Kimberly in here. And Enzo, like I told you when we talked privately, I'm not saying it's all Trump, but it's perception. And the American people, I'm looking in the chat, everyone's saying it's going up, it's going up, it's going up. But he also talks about bringing in money in. Kimberly, I'll let you respond to this clip.
Anxious about the economy. Why are they saying that?
I don't know that they are saying. I think polls are fake. We have the greatest economy we've ever had. We will have over $20 trillion come into our economy, and it's largely because of my election, but it's also largely because of tariffs. Even the tariff thing, it's such a disgrace. I'm watching them saying, well, no money would have to be paid back because it's not that much. It's trillions and trillions of dollars would have to be paid back.
If the Supreme Court rules against the tariffs.
It would be a disaster for our country. Now, will I do something? I'll figure something out because I do. That's what I do in life. I figure things out. But it's so, President Xi was willing to do the rare earth thing, that's magnets. Now, nobody knows what a magnet is. If you don't have a magnet, you don't make a car. You don't make a computer. You don't make televisions and radios and all the other things. You don't make anything. It's a 30-year effort to monopolize a very important thing. Now, within 2 years, we'll have magnets, all the magnets we want, but we don't. Because of tariffs, I called. I said, listen, here's the story. You're going to play the magnet. I'm going to play the tariff on you. And for national security purposes, I raised the tariff by 100% over and above what they were paying, which was 55. So he was at 155%. Within 10 minutes, I got a call. We'd like to meet. And we settled it out. And we made a wonderful deal, great deal for our country.
Kimberly, what do you think about the tariffs?
He is so fucking funny. He is so fucking funny. He really is. I just want to say I don't really have a stake in this game because my plan A is to marry rich. That's why I shake my ass on Instagram. But when you look at the economy overall, with both, with, are you okay, Nora? With both parties, overall, they fail to address income inequality. The economy, there are a lot of increments and measurements and this and that. It's a behemoth, it's huge. But overall, as long as you are not addressing the income inequality, there's this analogy where the conservatives will appease the higher upper class and the liberals will appease the lower class. But at the end of the day, neither of them address the middle class because they're both breadcrumbs here and there. They're not addressing the overall income inequality. It's going to continue to increase when you cut taxes on the rich and then the liberals after fail to reinstate those taxes that were cut, because the first big tax cuts were under Trump's first administration, and then there was 4 years of Biden. I didn't see anybody reverse that. Not sure if I missed it, but I'm pretty sure they fucking didn't. And then again with Trump tax cuts again, they're just increasing income inequality, increasing income inequality. And as long as that's not addressed, neither of these parties are going to help anybody really. At the end of the day, the majority of the wealth, the new wealth that's created is going to go to the top percent. That's why it's good to enforce labor unions, worker co-ops, and things like mutual aid, but not necessarily corporations or even honestly at this point charities and nonprofit organizations are also a sham. A lot of the things that people try to do to help with socioeconomic issues here and there are like putting a band-aid over the larger issue of income inequality, and neither party addresses or talks about income inequality because again we live in a crony capitalist society. In every industry, real estate, healthcare, education, they're all completely bought out and they have this mutually exclusive, a lot of the rich oligarchs had this mutually exclusive relationship with the politicians who write the laws. So it's like they're just buying themselves out. They're like literally just two sides of the same coin. And that's what we get. And everything's just going to get worse. It always does. Here and there, the inflation will go up and down. They'll appease the people because they need people to get them to vote. But at the end of the day, it doesn't affect either of them who gets voted in. That's why they preferred to have lost with Hillary Clinton in 2016 when Bernie could have won.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And I'm going to play this clip where his promises, what he said about healthcare and prices going down. And I'll let Skeptic respond here. This was a promise that he had a year ago.
In January, we will give our companies the lowest taxes, the lowest energy costs, the lowest regulatory burdens, the free access to the best and biggest market on the planet, that's us. But only if they make their products here in America and hire American workers for the job. And if these companies don't make their cars and products here, then they will pay a tariff, a very stiff tariff, when they send their products into the United States for the privilege of competing with our workers and our cherished companies. We're going to protect our companies. We're not going to let them steal our companies like they have in the past. We're going to call this policy Build It in America Plan. Because when foreign leaders and CEOs call me up to complain about our tariffs, my answer would be very simple. Build it in America. Very simple. And to be specific, build it in Detroit, and we'll give you good electricity.
So, Skeptic, what do you think about that? Did he fulfill that promise about the manufacturing jobs, bringing down healthcare costs, lower costs? What do you think? I know your answer, but
I want to say also, there was a census report, census.gov, that showed that income inequality decreased for the first time since 2007 under the Biden administration because they were promoting diversity, equity, and inclusion policies, which white women, they benefited from disproportionately, but still, you still saw people with disabilities and you saw people from marginalized communities also see an income increase because they had these policies that were protecting them and that were providing equity for them in the workplace. So to say that nobody or no administration has looked at income inequality just is not factual. But I do want to say, I think like the Republicans have these theories that sound good. It's like that person that talks really good, but really there's no logic behind it. What he was saying sounds good. And in theory, I had said in the beginning, tariffs sound like a good idea. And during his first administration, he passed some tariffs. For wood, and he passed another one. I want to say metal. If it wasn't him, it was under the Biden administration. They upheld these tariffs, so also they are at fault for that particular thing. But what we actually see happen is that we see an increase in that particular material, and it doesn't ever produce here in America because we just don't have the infrastructure. We haven't put enough money into companies and into our people so that we can make it profitable for them to do those things here. And so either the government's going to have to give a lot of subsidies and provide a lot of money to invest into manufacturing and infrastructure, which in a way is kind of a loss because a lot of things are being automated now. A lot of things are like you heard about UPS and Amazon. They are firing people because AI is able to do things so much faster and so much more efficiently. So, it sounds like a good idea, but I don't know that we'll ever be able to make a t-shirt that's cheaper than Vietnam's. Like, I just don't know why we're not focusing and why we're not investing into education and into research like we used to be. Like, why are we taking away our student visas for those students that were coming? Oh, wait, he is going to bring 600 Chinese students. So, okay, correction on that. Why are we not investing into students here in America that are American so that they can go and educate themselves and be more innovative and have more, come up with new inventions? Like, that's the thing we should be focusing on. And we're not doing that. We're cutting down, but we're adding to the debt. How are we adding to the debt, but we're taking away funding for disability for Social Security? Like 2 plus 2 is not equaling 4. 2 plus 2 is equaling -10. And it's like still not making sense to me. So like it sounds good, but the actual plan and the way that he put it into works just didn't make any sense.
Yeah. So, Skeptic, you lead me into the next one. I'll just play it. This is about the Chinese students.
600,000 Chinese students could come to the United States. Why, sir, is that a pro-MAGA position when so many American kids want to go to school and there are places not for them and these universities are getting rich off Chinese money?
Sure. Never said about China, but we do have a lot of people coming in from China. We always have China and other countries. We also have a massive system of colleges and universities. And if we were to cut that in half, which perhaps makes some people happy, you would have half the colleges in the United States go out of business.
So what?
Well, I think that's a big deal.
Are they fans
You would have the
of the United States?
Yeah, but you would have, as you know, historically, black colleges and universities would all be out of business. You would have a system of colleges and universities.
So we're dependent on China to keep our university system going?
But I think it's good to have. I actually think it's good to have outside countries. Look, I want to be able to get along with the world.
They're not the French. They're the Chinese. They spy on us. They steal our intellectual property.
What, do you think the French are better?
Yeah.
I mean, really? I don't know. I'll tell you, I'm not so sure. We've had a lot of problems with the French, where we get taxed very unfairly on our technology, where, they put 25% taxes on American products. Look, assuming everyone treats us badly, because that's the way I am, but we take in trillions of dollars from students. The students pay more than double when they come in from most foreign countries. I want to see our school system thrive, but at the same time, I know you and I disagree. We're never going to agree on it, but that's okay. And it's not that I want them, but I view it as a business. We have millions and millions of people. Also, I want to get along with countries if possible. People are shocked. Remember, Hillary Clinton said, we'll be in a war. I stopped 8 wars in the last 9 months. I don't want to be in wars. If I am in a war, we're going to win the thing fast, and it'll be violent. But you know what? I don't want to be in worse. But one thing, you don't want to cut half of the people, half of the students from all over the world that are coming into our country, destroy our entire university and college system. I don't want to do that.
Great. Was this a promise that he ran on that we would allow international students to keep coming in? Do you think that goes with things that you heard him say on the trail when we were listening to his speeches?
That's the total opposite of what Trump ran on. Trump was the most America first and anti-immigrant person that I've seen. So, like, for him to try to spin that is just wild, because, like, Trump just basically said he's going to do all these things for these people, but Trump is always about the money. And I feel like that's what people should realize. Like, Trump will say certain stuff, but Trump is going to go with what money says is the best option.
Damn, really? Money talks? Well, speaking of money, this is what else he's promising us now.
Dividend to our middle income people and lower income people of about $2,000. And we're going to use the remaining tariffs to lower our debt. We're going to be lowering our debt, which is a national security thing. So we're doing a lot of good work. And the numbers were reported so incorrectly. The real numbers are trillions of dollars have been taken in or gotten in terms of investment from the tariffs. And so if that were ever reversed, it would be a disaster. Frankly, it would be a national security problem for our country. And nobody thinks it's going to be reversed. I think we had a very good court case. As you know, it's before the Supreme Court right now. But if that were ever reversed, you know, people are saying, oh, it's $1 billion. Some people said, oh, it's $2 billion. Well, that obviously we can handle very easily. But this is trillions of dollars we're talking about in terms of the tariff income and all the investment income that's come into our country. You know.
Okay, Enzo, because you do research and you're pro-Trump, break it down to me about these tariffs. Explain how we're going to get this $2,000 check. And are we?
So, do I think we're going to get $2,000 checks? No. Do I hope we get $2,000 checks? No. If we get $2,000 checks, every fucking Democrat, there has to be a law that needs to be passed that they have to give that $2,000 to their nearest Republican because you said it was worthless, that the tariffs were not going to do anything, that it was going to skyrocket prices. You need to give us your $2,000. That is our money. We voted for that. All right. So back to the real issue. Yeah, no, he is right. Like they have reported it wrong because they're saying it's, when I looked at it, it was $800 billion that came in tariff revenue. When he's talking about the tariffs and the money, the investment that's coming from the tariffs, yes, it is into the trillions. The last time I looked at it was $5 trillion that was inked on paper that was being invested into the United States. That's leaving out the tariff revenue. So who really knows what the real number is? If they could figure out a way for them to give money to the American people to help out, whatever, that will not cause inflation like the stimulus checks did. That's just printing money out of thin air, pretty much. If they can give us something back, that would be great. Do I realistically think that's going to happen? And would I really advocate for it? Absolutely not. I would rather take that $600 million or $600 billion that they're estimating for all middle class and people in poverty. That's how much it would cost everybody. I would be happier as me to put that money towards bringing down the national debt. I would rather have that than money back in our pockets at the end of the day. I think that's a smarter option. So they really need to figure out how they're going to go about this, what they're going to do. Is this going to cause inflation? Really think about before just throwing the American people $2,000. Because yes, that will stimulate the economy and bring up the GDP in certain aspects, but I just don't really think it's a great idea in all whole honesty.
Kamal, what would you like to see?
Who paid the $1 trillion in tariffs, though? Do we know who paid that money?
Oh yeah, there's I can bring it up to you.
It's the consumer. It's us Americans. We paid that $1 trillion.
Oh, I think I meant the investment. I mean,
it's like taking $20
on.
from everybody. It has already been passed on. That's why we've seen an increase in prices.
We have
you don't believe that there's been an increase in prices, but you're telling me. So you're telling me that the corporations paid the tariffs and ate the cost, and we still haven't paid for it. The consumer hasn't paid for it. So I'll say that. Hold on. Let me say this, and then I'll. the analogy that I comes to my head is like I take money from everyone. I make $100 and I give everyone $2 back. We paid the 1 trillion in consumer increased prices of tariffs that were brought in. The consumer pays the cost at the end of the day, and they're going to give us back $2,000. Is wild.
All right. So again, I'm going to revert back to the CPI report, the most recent one from September. When you look at the 12-month track from March to September of last year and use the same exact time period for this year, the rate of inflation has gone down for everything. Fuel, food. I have it up right here. I'll tell you exactly everything because I talk about this every single day. Food at home, food away from home, energy commodities, gasoline, fuel, energy services, electricity, utilities, all items less than food, new vehicles, used vehicles, apparel, medical care, commodities. Everything is down with the exception of electricity. That's the only things that are up in the last year.
So let me ask you a question. So the CPI report from month to month, has inflation gone up from last month to this month? Has it
From
gone
month
up?
to month. Okay, so let's look at
Has
it.
it gone? I'm
Let's
just
look at
asking a simple question though. I just need a yes or
the
no.
rate of inflation.
Has it gone up
rate
from
of
last
inflation-
month to this month? Has it gone up?
No, it went down from August to December,
it didn't.
0.5 to 0.2. I'm looking at it right here.
It went up from 3 to 3.5. It might have been the last 2 months of it.
3 to 3.
Where the rate
where
of
are you
inflation
looking at
went
this?
up. I'm looking at the CPI report. From
No,
like
you're not,
1
because I'm
month.
looking at
Yes,
it
I
right
am.
here.
Yes, I am.
Okay, because I have it right here for August. For August, it was 0.5. Rate of inflation went up by 0.5, and then it went down to 0.2. It went down 0.3.
I'll go find it, and I can show you what I'm talking about.
I talk about this every single day on my friend's lives.
Yeah.
Okay, Kamal needs to
Yeah.
know. Kamal, what would you like to see with the money if we were to give it out? I think I know the answer, but you go ahead, tell us.
I thought we was gonna get through this without the argument, but I mean, I like it at times, though. You feel me? But sometimes I gotta play the Jeopardy music. You feel me? You know, because certain things gotta move along. But fuck that shit. We balling. Give me the 2000.
Yeah, right there.
Trumponomics out here. 50-year mortgage. You take that 2000, buy a property, sit in it for 5 years, take the equity out of that. You buy another property, then you on top of properties of property. We balling out here, monopoly out here, baby. Give us the 2000. That's what Trump. That's what Trump logic right now. He like, look, y'all take this 2000. You know I'm giving y'all the 50-year loan mortgage thing. To buy a property right now is over with. Hey, we gotta start thinking Trumponomics, y'all. God damn. But at all seriousness, though, I'm not going to deny the $2,000 if it comes my way. But I know the $2,000 is going to come with some inflation. I just know it. But I ain't going to deny it. And yeah, we balling out here. Fuck it. Give us the 50-year loan with the $2,000, man. Trumponomics in it. Where's 85 Slim? Where is he at? God damn. We need him to talk. You know what I mean? He gonna agree with me. Trumponomics out here. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the other promise Trump had, and I'll let Kimberly go next, is no new wars. Here we go.
Of the people that voted for us, nobody's ever seen anything like that. They came from all corners: union, non-union, African American, Hispanic American, Asian American, Arab American, Muslim American. We had everybody, and it was beautiful. It was a historic realignment, uniting citizens of all backgrounds around a common core of common sense. You know, we're the party of common sense. We want to have borders. We want to have security. We want to have things be good, safe. We want great education. We want a strong and powerful military, and ideally, we don't have to use it. You know, we had no wars. 4 years, we had no wars, except we defeated ISIS. We defeated ISIS in record time. But we had no wars. They said, he will start a war. I'm not going to start a war. I'm going to stop wars. But this is also a massive victory for democracy and for freedom. Together, we're going to unlock America's glorious destiny. We're going to achieve the most incredible future for our people.
Yesterday, as I stood at my last stop on the campaign trail, I'll never be doing a rally again. Can you believe it? I think we've done 900 rallies approximately from the, can you imagine? 900, 901, something, a lot of rallies. And it was sad. Everybody was sad. Many people, I said, this is our last rally. But now we're going on to something that's far more important, because the rallies were used for us to be put in this position where we can really help our country. That's what we're going to do.
Could I just say real quick though, because I just pulled up the U.S. labor statistics. I literally, and I know it, but I'm just double checking because sometimes I also question. I literally have it pulled up. U.S. labor statistics. I don't know where you're getting your CPI report for October because I cannot find it anywhere, and the one for November won't even be released until the 13th. So I don't know how you're going from October to November. However,
Consumer price
I will give
index
you.
summary.
However, I will give you August and September, where they're saying that it went up. This is literally, I'm reading verbatim from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. Okay. It says consumer price index of all urban consumers, CPIU, increased 0.3% on a seasonal adjustment basis in September after rising 0.4% in August. The U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics reported today over the last 12 months, all items index increased 3.0% before seasonal adjustment. Now, it gives you the index for gasoline, which you had named that gasoline had gone down. It says here that it rose 4.1% in September. I don't know where you're getting, and everyone else in the comments and everybody else living in America is saying that everything's rising, but in your world, you're paying less for gas. We're all paying, what is it? 4.1% more in gas in September, according to the U.S. labor statistics.
So wait, what numbers are you looking at, Skeptic? I'm
looking for September. September and
Okay.
August. That's why I was saying, yeah, I don't know like where or how you're getting November and October, but I'm telling you that September and August, I'm not making these numbers up. The CPI, the US labor statistics, like literally is telling us there's an increase in price. Now, I'll tell you something that I think is a little fishy. The overall inflation rate to me should be higher. But according to the what they look at is like random items in like a grocery store, like eggs. That's why people were making a big deal about eggs, because it's supposed to be like random items so that you can kind of get an overall feel of how the economy is doing. But to me, it seems like the random items they're choosing are really high in price, but the inflation rate is not as high as it should be. But that's just my opinion. However, they still are saying that there's an increase in inflation.
Okay. Well, Kimberly, going back to the clip, what do you think about no new wars? Pakistan had a bombing today. I think it was a suicide bomber. And somebody in the clip says that unfortunately Israel and Palestine are still, Israel still bombing Palestine. What's your thoughts?
Mhm.
Did he fulfill this promise of no new wars?
Skeptic, I really appreciate you proving your point. I love a woman that could prove a point. I personally die on every hill I stand on. So I thank you for sharing that as well. And I agree that inflation does go up and down, and there are certain fixes here and there. But overall, income inequality has only gotten worse. So Donald Trump is full of shit. He's not a peace president. Not even during his first presidency, because the Abraham Accords were not good for Palestine. They completely refused to acknowledge the sovereignty of Palestine in the Abraham Accords. I am a pacifist. I don't even believe in war. I don't think, like, a lot of the times when you see these rules of war and people, like with October 7th, people will argue, oh, if Hamas had only targeted military personnel. I don't think military personnel should be targeted or have died either, even though they signed up for that, because a lot of the times people who sign up to the military are working class. And the reasons that they sign up to join the military, any military, aren't the real or even good reasons to join, in my opinion. So I am a pacifist through and through, and Donald Trump is not a peace president. None of the ceasefire agreements with Palestine and Israel have held. He's fomenting a war with Venezuela. We know all of this, right? But honestly, both parties do it. I will say, I think what did help him a little bit in the last election was that he was willing to lie like this to his people. He went to the right parts of the country, spoke to the right people, and pretended that he was gonna do whatever the fuck he was pretending he was gonna do. It's completely full of shit. He's a liar. We all know this. The Democrats weren't even that smart. They were going around on a freaking orgy tour with Liz fucking Cheney. So both parties are not peace parties at all. They make way too much money off of weapons manufacturers. War is profitable. As long as we can trade stocks on war, they're going to keep war going. Once we end one war, we start another one. If we can't fucking find one, we'll make it up, like with Venezuela. But no, Donald Trump is not a peace president. He never fucking was. He never will be. And both parties, like for me, my red line is war. That's what really radicalized me against both political parties was war. The war machine owns both political parties.
Yeah, I appreciate that you care about income inequality, and so we should look at facts of when income inequality went down, which was in 2022. So that's the facts. Like I'm just going off of the reports, off the, the data that we have. So if we care about a topic and then we have data that says, hey, income inequality went down, then we have to say that it went down because that's what the reports say, right?
Okay, I'll look at the report.
Well, I'm about to come unserious with this shit. Kimberly, you can't be a pacifist if your plan A is to marry a rich man. You're going to be at war with all the rest of them women. What the fuck? Okay, what?
My dream is to be a rich trad wife. I grew up on a ranch. I knew how to ride a horse before I could walk. I want to be a rich trad wife. If anybody out there sees this, please hit me up.
Y'all hear that in the chat? There
You
y'all
hear
go.
that? Okay, all right. Kimberly gonna put her chat. You guys will see it in the outro. You know where to find her. Her Insta is on there. We're gonna transition out to closing thoughts. This was a good show. In fact, I'm gonna let ladies go first. So, Skeptic, what's your closing thoughts?
Yeah, I just want to say to everyone, we have this initiative where we're trying to feed 50 families. I know that there are a lot of people that are going through it because of all the recent things. And I know that for those that said that politics didn't matter to their day-to-day life, you see now why it matters, who you vote for, and why we go out and vote, and why we make a big deal about politics. Because when the SNAP card started declining, people started saying, what's going on? You need to get involved. You can't just be ignorant and think that it's not going to affect you. What's going on in the government does trickle down to you, and it does affect your day-to-day life. It will affect your generations to come. It'll affect your children. So you need to become more informed so that we can make good decisions and make this nation a better country. They are trampling on our rights. I've stopped saying don't let them trample on your constitutional rights. Now I'm saying they are trampling on your constitutional rights. You can find me on TikTok, and tune in Tuesdays and Thursdays for the new party because it's always a good show with us.
Thank you, Skeptic. That was very nice closing thoughts. Kim, ladies next. What's your closing thoughts?
Oh, bigger picture. Both parties are shit. The reason why, look, me on the left, I go so hard on the Democrats, and I'll look at the report and I'll respond, is because they're completely lying to you. They will always lie to you because that's how they get people to vote for them. But both the Democrats and the Republicans, I agree that, and I'm never going to deny it, especially when it comes to social issues and civil liberties, the conservatives are much worse. But the reason why we've gotten this much worse is because we get a lot of these liberal politicians who will lie to you, and they'll say, we're for the working people. Meanwhile, they will campaign and actively work against a lot of these social and economic issues. Neither party have made this country better. That's why we get worse and worse and worse. The reason why we ended up with a Donald Trump is because of the disastrous policies that the Democrats put through. I strongly suggest that we all just break away from both parties, both the Democrats and the Republicans. I think I can see, at least in the near future, where we can vote against all corporate money and get big money out of politics, because as long as we keep voting for these corporate overlords, then they're just going to keep screwing us over, and it's the middle, at the expense of the middle class.
Thank you, Kim. But before I go to the next person's closing thoughts, it is Veterans Day. And on behalf of the new party, we want to say thank you to all veterans. Thank you for your service. In particular, thank you to Gray Mars, our co-founder of the channel, to Doc. Thank you. Doc and Heaven on the man cave. Sound, you can do the other sound.
Oh,
I
my
will
bad.
say, I want to add really quickly, it's a completely disgrace that Donald Trump. It was a complete disgrace that Donald Trump met with a former Al Qaeda leader at the White House today. I think that is a complete disgrace to all veterans.
So let's see the. So again, thank you guys for your service. On behalf of the veteran on the show, we'll let Gray go next.
Thank you for playing that clip. Happy Veterans Day to all the veterans out there. Are Trump voters upset about that choice? I think some people are. I think some people are gonna always be upset no matter what. Good show. Like Kimberly was saying, like voting against both parties. This is what the new party is for: is to come and have a conversation so that both sides can talk and hopefully we can get to a real solution in this country. Like we always say, a new party, always vote.
Enzo, what's your closing thoughts?
So my closing thoughts are, this was a very good episode. We have a long 3 years to go with Trump. Trump is doing exactly what I voted for him for. I do not regret anything. Most importantly, the only thing I really want to touch on today is Memorial Day. Shout out to everybody who has served past or that served for this country for the last 250 years, who gave us the ability to have the freedom of speech that we have, to have these conversations, to be critical about our leaders, our Congress members, because we're one of the only countries in the world where we are able to criticize our government and make our government better. We need to keep having these conversations. We need to keep pushing and doing better for this country at the end of the day. And if it wasn't for the veterans and of everybody who served over the last 250 years, we would not be here to do that. So go thank a veteran for what they've done for this country. And that's really all I'm going to end with tonight.
Yeah, that was great closing thoughts. And also, guys, if you're watching, please hit the notification. Kamal, what's your closing thoughts?
First of all, happy Veterans Day. You feel me? Shout out to Gray. Shout out to Heaven. Shout out to Doc. Really do appreciate y'all service and the rest of the veterans out there. Appreciate y'all. Nah, dead ass for real. Next thing I want to say is, Eric Clean, I saw you in the chat, and you goddamn right. It is a goddamn disgrace that a damn burrito is almost $20. Inflation is out of goddamn control. This is crazy. But let's be real. The Trumponomics is going to save us, y'all. Use that $2,000 he said he going to give us. Get that 50-year loan mortgage. I know you're not going to see any of the equity because the interest is going to be kicking your ass. But damn it, we balling out here. Buy that property. Take the equity out that property. Buy another property. There you go. Now you rich. American dream solved somewhat. Anyway, I'm being real. I'm being real, y'all. I'll be sarcastic about it. That the 50-year loan thing, as everybody else on the stage said, is not smart. Is really dumb thing to do. You feel me? Also, are people regretting voting for Trump? I don't the hell know. I haven't been seeing it online. You feel me? I mean, I don't know if they regret it. I hear some people grumbling about it, but who the hell knows? I don't know. People always regret picking these politicians. One minute they love you, the next minute they taking out your motherfucking pocketbook. And then people surprised, like, oh my God, they're taking out my pocketbook. I don't get why we surprised no more. I feel like just see what game they playing, you feel me, and see where you can fit in. That's how I feel about it. Also, I want to say, hit the notification bell for the new party. I have the link pinned to the top of my chat. Y'all go subscribe. Thank you to Incognito, new subscriber. He says subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you know when they go live. We do this Monday through Thursday. You feel me? The Man Cave Monday, Wednesday. The new party Tuesday, Thursday. Also, everybody else on the panel has TikToks and YouTube channels. Y'all go follow them. If y'all want to follow me, Kamal Johnson Network on YouTube, y'all go over there, hit the sub button. Not only that, hit the notification bell so you know when I go live. And yeah, I don't really got much else to say, but Roots, shout out to you, bro. Your mama got 2 left ankles. You said I was a DEI hire on this motherfucker. Shout out to you, bro. That was a funny comment, but your mama got 3 left titties. So I guess the last laugh is gonna be on you, bro. But yeah, I'm done, man. I'm about to go watch some more YouTube or something. Go follow Enzo in his debates. You going live tonight, bro?
Yes, sir.
I might have to tap in, bro. Listen to some craziness, man, because you be having the loony Democrats come on there. That shit be it, man. You feel me? And can we find Kimberly a married man? I mean, not a married man, a rich man. We gonna find you that rich man, Kimberly.
Rich one.
Yeah, a single rich man, not a married one. So we need to. We're gonna.
I
Find
will
her that-
renounce all my principles. Subservient, obedient, submissive.
Y'all hear it first, okay? That's it. There it goes. All right. But yeah. I got shit else to say.
Okay. Great closing thoughts. I'll be fast, guys. Thank you guys to the new party team. Shout out to the positive dialogue we had. We believe in having these tough conversations. Charlie Kirk said it best. When people start talking, bad things happen. So, I mean, sometimes we may have disagreements to get to the common place, which is where we're all headed to. And at the new party, we believe in uniting America one voice at a time. God bless. Good night. Come back tomorrow at 8 p.m. for the Man Cave.